Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel where I inform you, I educate you, and inspire you. So that being said, I'm just the messenger. So good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. Today is, I think, Saturday. Yes, today's Saturday, March 19th, 2022, and it's going on 3:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys are enjoying your day, your morning, or your night, regardless of when you're watching this, as well as staying hydrated by drinking plenty of water and geographically, depending on where you live, preparing yourself for the weather. So that being said, I'm just a messenger. I'm here to suggest, advise, information when it comes to healing as a spiritual healer or inspirational teacher from my experiences. So what has helped me along my journey, pros and cons, good and bad, as well as using natural resources, as well as informing and educating you guys. And I like to do that by using, like I said, natural resources such as experience, opportunities based off of my environment, my transportation, my resources, my finances, my background, as well as using the internet, articles, newspapers, experiences, and perspectives when it comes to everybody's interactions, as well as dictionaries and the source, as well as any other informative articles or information. The reason why I like to do that is because on this channel, I cannot tell people what to do or how to feel, and that healing is a choice and it's optional. So if you choose to heal, congratulations, sit back, prepare yourself, and enjoy the rest of this month as well as this year. And if you choose not to, that you have a beautiful day and that you don't worry about people, places, and things that are not aligned with you. So something that I like to do and something that I did last year specifically and strategically was break down words from the title/topic by using a dictionary and the source. And the reason for me doing that was to reassure you guys and to have a general understanding. So on this channel, because it is about perspective and healing, and because it is optional, it does take time, as well as there's no right or wrong way to do so. So if these messages resonate with you, make sure you're giving this video a big thumbs up, make sure you're commenting down below, and make sure you're subscribed by liking these videos if you're not already, as well as follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance. So for today's video, we will go over and discuss how do I give myself moral support. So I may substitute the words from the title/topic so you guys are able to understand. So it says, how do I give myself moral support? I'm going to say you, but the title, it says I. So how do you give yourself moral support? How do I give myself moral support? So first things first, when it comes to understanding moral support, knowing that your life is for you to live. And what I mean by that is everyone who is born ever since they came out the womb has been supernaturally and always will be a spirit as well as themselves. So people like to say inner child, people like to say third eye. All of those are attachments, labels, and titles. And the reason why I would use the dictionary and the source to break down keywords from the title/topic so you guys can understand the titles and attachments, not to sit here and base your personality or identity to these words, but to understand that these words are just words and that they do not define you. So when it comes to an adjective, that is something that is being described. So moral support is realizing who you are. So how you go about realizing who you are is understanding what you've experienced. Now, everybody, like I've stated, has been consciously and subconsciously alive ever since they were born. So two things that we're not able to control in the physical, not supernatural for the spiritual community, are when we are conceived, like the actual day when we're being born, and when we will no longer exist in this physical body as ourselves. So what I mean by that, we are spiritual energies who possess the flesh, which is our soul, inside of our physical body. So you're not your body and you are not your flesh. You have flesh and you have a physical body, but it does not belong to you. What I mean by that, you do not get to control how long you live on this earth. So when it comes to your opportunities and experience as a child, most people have been conditioned and have been trained, depending on where you live in the society, to be programmed to a certain form of projection of history. We learn from school, depending on where you live in America, that's where I'm at, from kindergarten to 12th grade, false history as well as information. So if we're taught false history and false information, when it comes to us thinking and trying to be individuals, it is very hard. That's why it's so much easier for people to consider and need outside validation from their actual self. What I mean by that, people have projected insecurities, negative energies, and false information to the collective, so it's harder for people to understand their identity. But me, because I have been here and I'm original people, if you know, you know, on this planet, I'm here to give these messages from source. So understanding when it comes to supporting yourself, you need to understand what you're going through, how it's making you feel, and how you want to go about. Now, when it comes to identifying your experiences and opportunities, you have to realize that comparing yourself is not going to help you. Surrounding yourself with people, places, and things that are not aligned with you is not going to help you. So for those of you who are returning, you know the deal, you know the drill. Anyone who is new, one thing I want everyone to be, watching in the collective to go ahead and do is make a purchase into a notebook, a diary, or a journal. It could look like this, or a composition book, or if you have like an iPad, or it could look like this. It doesn't matter as long as you have some form of area where you're able to document as well as a writing utensil. And I want you to start to write down how you feel emotionally, verbally, consciously, subconsciously, physically, financially. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when it comes to supporting yourself and knowing your worth, that is for you to validate. People, places, and things should not be able to come to you and define your worth. So for example, if you have negative thoughts or you don't think positively about yourself, I want you to start to write down. And the reason why it's so important to write down if you're not able to verbally express how you feel is because you have to process what is going on. People are easily triggered because of traumatic situations, from suffering, PTSD, OCD, ADHD. When we are born as babies, yes, it is natural for us, like I said, supernaturally to consume trauma from the womb, from women. If you know, you know. But in a physical source sense, you have to go through certain things in your life to have a certain mentality as well as perspective. So everyone in the world does not have the same finances, the same resources, geographically, even live in the same location. So when it comes to you, you have to understand the difference between the projections of society as well as expectations compared to your own. So you supporting yourself is reframing from negative energy and other people's opinions and perspectives that do not internally, validate who you are. So when you're able to experience and express what you've gone through, whether it was struggling or negative, you're able to understand the expectation that you had for yourself or others. So when it comes to moral support, another thing I want to suggest and advise is practicing being in the moment. The best way to me, what has helped me along my journey to be in the present moment, is to understand my thought process as well as the opportunities and experience that I have been responsible for. So most children, like I said, from kindergarten through 12th grade, so from the ages 4, depending on where you live, 3 to 4, up until 16, 17, 18 years old, we have been accustomed Monday through Friday, let's just say August to maybe June or July, depending on where you live, or May, to go to school to learn information that does not help mentally, emotionally, financially, or supernaturally to heal ourselves. The information that we've been programmed is to be trained to educate ourselves momentarily, so we're able to have a certain degree of knowledge that only is going to be beneficial if we apply it to the jobs that we go to school for or what we choose to resonate it with. Now, it's not to say that school is not going to teach you things, because school can give you opportunity and experience. That's like college. I don't knock people who go to college, I don't knock people who go to school. Understanding that when you're going to the school, you're going to this place to be trained, that it doesn't define your intelligence as well as your emotional intelligence. So you supporting yourself, you have to understand, what you're going through, the information that you're learning, and asking yourself, is this information beneficial to you? In order for you to morally support yourself, what I want to suggest and advise is understanding perspective. You have to understand that most children, because we are little people, only know what we've been exposed to. So everyone in life, like I said, does not have the same background. Some people have traveled, some people have not. Some people only lived in an entire city or state their entire life. Some people have moved to different states. Me personally, I've lived in 7 different states, and I've traveled to 22 different states in the country, as well as going outside of the country to 8 different locations. And because naturally I have in my bloodline, being an original woman, if you know, you know, my experiences and my perspective in my everyday life is going to be different from other people. So understanding the challenges that you've gone through and realizing in these situations and in these environments how they affect you. And the reason why it's so important to understand your thought process is when you're able to realize necessarily what's causing you to be triggered, what causes you to feel overwhelmed, and why you are projecting this information, you then now have a choice to realize if I'm going to continue this pattern or if I want to realize what it is. So when it comes to healing, knowing that is a process. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but it does take time. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, you've been taught information that is false. And what I mean by false, Christopher Columbus did not discover America. Caucasian people are not the original people. So yeah. Okay, with that being said, we have to realize that acknowledging what we've gone through and what we've experienced could be good or bad. This is why when I would read the words from the dictionary, I would break them down so people can understand the information in general, not to sit here and say, well, this word means this and this. Because all words, you guys, to be very honest or transparent, like people like to say, words are just letters. Letters are just what we created. They come from symbols. It comes back from the original time, from the original people of what has been created. Everything comes back to a pinpoint. Okay, so once you're able to acknowledge, you're able to accept and realize, okay, this is what has helped me along my journey and this is what is not able to help me along my journey. So when it comes to healing, everyone does not have the same emotional intelligence. Everyone does not have the same transportation. Everyone does not have the same finances. Not being so hard on yourself. You have to learn how to adapt when it comes to healing. When you've gone through suffering, you've gone through trauma, and you didn't have the finances, you didn't have the resources, you didn't have the emotional intelligence, so you were naive, you were ignorant, you lacked knowledge, that you made certain decisions, whether they were in the moment or you actually took the time to think and realize the longevity. Now, just like anybody else, in order for me to come on here, not for me to just be a know-it-all or think I know everything or prove a point or be braggadocious or condescending, arrogant, full of myself. Once again, these are all adjectives. These are all letters. These are all words. They don't hold any weight towards me because internally I know that I am just a spirit. You have to be able to understand that it is okay to make decisions that have caused you certain outcomes and have certain consequences. I had to be okay with making certain decisions in my past, the present, and the future to realize where I'm going and accepting that the past is a moment that no longer exists. So the more you hold on to things that do not exist, the harder it is for you to be in the present moment, for you to create your future. Your past, your present, and your future are already aligned. It is up to you to understand and demonstrate your actions as well as being present and realizing, scenarios that you've learned from, situations that you lacked, situations that's caused you, like I said, to feel mad, angry, and sad, because once again, they're all what? Letters that create words, that create definitions, that create sentences. So when it comes to not being so content with the physical and material world, and this is why I'm saying this for those who are supernatural, you know that spirituality is life. Everything that is not of spirit, meaning of source, is going to be considered physical or material. So for the example, this water bottle, we are so content that we don't understand how this is made up. And I understand you're thinking, Ty, how do you know this information, or why are you sharing this? For a reason. This is a plastic bottle. The plastic, is called bottle. Bottle is a word. Bottle is defined. If you look up the dictionary word for bottle, it will tell you, okay? This is a placement holder. Inside of this bottle is a liquid. As you can see, it's water. Water is a liquid. So you have water inside of plastic. Now, you're not going to say water inside of plastic. You will say water bottle. If you're able to understand and break things down by dissecting and going to the root, just like any and everything else, all the answers that you need within yourself when it comes to healing and how to healing is going to be coming within. We already have everything supernaturally on this earth that has not been created to understand our growth and healing. So supporting yourself is asking for help. It is realizing that if you are around certain people, if you live in a certain environment, you've been exposed to certain people, places, and things that are not beneficial, that they're negative, they're narcissistic, once again, all adjectives and labels, that you need to, if you can, I want to suggest and advise, take a moment and step back. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Once again, I created this platform for vulnerability, for a safe place for people to, one, be true to themselves and be real. So being real and true to yourself is knowing that you're going to need help. I used to be very hyperly independent, once again, adjectives that describe certain actions, and I didn't realize how hyperly independent I was until I started settling. And because I started settling, I've had made certain decisions that caused me to lack in the long term as well as in the present. And I had to realize that I needed help and that it is impossible for people to do everything by themselves. When it comes to you, yes, healing is going to take you putting in the work, but having someone to support you. Everybody in the world needs somebody to get to somewhere. Okay? Everybody needs somebody in the world to get to somewhere. Yes, as people, we are going to have, I will say, 70% of our weight doing things for ourselves, because when you do things, it should be for you. It shouldn't be for anybody else. But you may need help going about getting to these places or understanding what needs to be done. So asking for help, understanding, self-care, taking time for yourself, not being so hard on yourself, realizing that you are only one person, once again, and not having so many expectations, and realizing that it's okay to acknowledge, it is okay to, ask and realize that you don't know everything. Like, I'm a very teachable person. I have my subscribers who have helped me, gain perspective about how I can go about posting my videos, as well as my aunt. And I have mentors, so people who are older than me that have experienced or are in a direction that I would like to see myself in. So, understanding that if you're able to accept life for what it is and not putting so much, like I said, attachment or labels, or being so content with attachment and labels, you will realize that you showing up every day for yourself is the most important thing and is the only thing that really matters. Like, just because you're not where you need to be doesn't mean it's impossible. It's because, once again, the false history, the false projections, the false program, that people feel so limited and not realize that you could reach for the sky. Literally, if you go outside, there are no windows, there are no walls outside. And what I mean by that, we live in buildings. The buildings that we live in are forms of shelter. If you take away the building, in order to build a house, you need land. Okay? So with that being said, supporting yourself, being mindful of what you're, listening to. And I tell you guys all the time to use your discernment. Use your discernment. If you're spiritual or part of the spiritual community, your discernment should be a one-day one. You should be able to feel people's presence, because supernaturally, you're just a spirit. So when it comes to people, if you're able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, like a lot of things in life, you will realize that, one, it is not about you, and the direction you're going to go in is based off of the decisions you are listening to, the people you are watching. If you see something and you feel like somebody is superior, or you feel less than, you need to take a moment to yourself and gather your thoughts. Do not sit here and put your energy onto people and places and things that you don't want to resonate with, because that all your intention is going to expand. So just be mindful of how you choose to show up for yourself, and be mindful of what you want to attract and become. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Enjoy your weekend, live your life, and don't forget to say YOLO.